Hey everybody, welcome to another live video. Today we are talking about RVing with pets. This is our pet, Belle. Sabrina's going to do actually most of the talking, so I will be reading your comments.
That's what I've been told today. Okay, so I've got my good behavior stash here. So if you hear like rustling, there's a good behavior stash. Hence, she is sitting very nicely and pretty for me right now. So first, we just want to talk about traveling with Belle. And people always ask us all the time, how is it to travel with a pet? We only have one, thankfully, even though I keep trying to convince Kenny that we need either a cat or another dog. He says no, absolutely not. I keep telling him I'm trying to find my travel kitty. He says no. So, first, just to let everybody know, we are Belle's actual third home. So, we always talk about how hyper she is and how she is, I don't know how you describe her other than hyper. She's high energy, she's very protective, she barks quite a bit, and she had been to two homes prior to us and was brought back to the shelter. We got her from a quote unquote no kill shelter in the city we used to live in. They got her from a kill shelter because she was up to be put down. They said she's cute, she's adoptable, so we actually went to the shelter, found her, and brought her home. She convinced us when we were there with her quiet demeanor and her reaching through a crate, just trying to paw us with no noise whatsoever when every other dog in the entire shelter was barking. She convinced us that she was a wonderfully quiet dog, and we adopted her.
Yeah, it's a shame actually that she was going to be put down because she was literally going to be put down for the only reason of being hyper. Like,
and not adoptable at that point. Like they had tried.
They did try. Yeah, she was in two homes, but I mean, and we saw just the pure raw power of Belle when we first brought her home to our apartment. She jumped over our sofa without touching it, long ways.
Yeah, long ways. The two-seater, just from one arm, yeah, just straight over it.
Straight over it, ran into the bedroom and into the living area, the kitchen, just all over, and she was like a blur. She really looked like the Tasmanian devil.
She was doing zoomies, we're calling them, when she was at the apartment.
And then she would sit down and lay down for take a couple breaths, get back up, and then just start running back and forth again. Just run. I mean, not chasing anything, just running back and forth. So hyper would be an understatement, I think.
Yes. So, a couple things we do to try to keep her safe when she's with us. Before we went on the road, we actually took her to multiple dog training classes because we wanted her to learn, first of all, not to run out of doors when we have the door open. And she's really good about that now, not going outside the door. Unless someone comes to the door, then it's really hard to keep her from not going. But if we open the door, we've accidentally actually left it open sometimes when we get stuff out of the bay, and she'll just sit there and she won't come out unless we say okay. So we've done that to try to keep her safe. We took her to some training. We also have her microchipped. So she's got a microchip, and we make sure that that address is updated with also family contacts that they can get a hold of since we're always moving.
I would also like to add that Belle is our first pet, or our first dog, I should say. We've had cats. And we really didn't know what we were doing with her. And that was a big plus of taking her to the obedience school. I feel like we learned more than she did. She learned a lot there as well, but we learned how to communicate with her and for her to communicate with us and key words of behavior and keeping her a little more calm and understanding.
Yeah, and she's been good for us as far as even like she's so protective of the RV and protective of us that she doesn't let anybody come near the RV without letting us know. She actually kept someone out one time. We had parked across the street from a CVS. I ran into CVS to get something, and Kenny was working on the car in the back of the RV, and he heard her acting like crazy. And I came out of the CVS and I saw somebody like walking around the RV, and he was actually coming to the door and pulling on our door to get into the RV, and Belle was just freaking out. And Kenny was like, "Oh, something's going on. Maybe I should go check what's going on over there."
And I saw the guy. He's got one foot on our step, and he's trying to open our door. And I said, "Can I help you?" And he's like, "Oh yeah, I wanted to see the dog that's inside of your RV." And I said, "She doesn't want to see you." I said, "Obviously you're, bothering her. She's acting a fool. She gets a mohawk and she growls. She's showing her teeth." I said, "She doesn't want to see you. I would appreciate it if you actually stepped away from our door and walked away." And he said, "Oh, okay. Well, I really didn't mean any harm." And he walked away.
Yeah, he was.
He didn't know that I was back there, I guess, working on the car. I was actually working on one of our headlights up here, but that was a good lesson for us, though, also because I didn't have the door locked. It was just closed. And now we lock the door. Ever since that incident, we lock the door every single time. Even if it's just to get gas. Step out and go to the other side of the RV, the door gets locked.
Yep, yeah. So, like I said, microchip. We also have, from Go Pet Friendly, we have a little tag on her that we can update online and register. Oh, he took it off so that you guys can see it. So it can be scanned with a QR scanner. So it's not just you have to bring her to a vet to scan the microchip, because a lot of people don't know she has the microchip. But this is definitely, you can see it, you scan it, and all our information is in there on it. So we have that.
And it's easy for us to update. It's just an app or a website. We can go in and update the information at all times. So anybody that scans it, they're getting the most up-to-date information for us and the most up-to-date information for Belle.
If they can get close enough to her.
If they can get close enough to her.
But yeah, so that's available too. When we're traveling with her in the RV and when we're traveling with her in the car, we actually now have her restrained with a seatbelt in the RV and car. And we never used to do this. We used to just kind of let her kind of free roam in the car and the RV. But when we were speaking with Amy,
Hold on.
Oh, what just happened?
I
Oh my
don't know.
goodness, our gimbal just went awry. He's resetting it. Silence. The ultimate silence.
Yeah, I'm not sure why I did that.
So when we were speaking with Amy with Go Pet Friendly last year at the Winnebago rally, she was talking about keeping your pets safe, and would you, if you had a child or a grandchild, would you have them unrestrained in a car? Do you care about your pet any less? That type of thing. And she was just explaining a couple things as far as restraining your pet in the vehicle that kind of struck a chord with us. First of all, obviously we knew that in the event of an accident, she's technically going to be a projectile because she's not restrained by anything, but we kind of just accepted that, okay, we probably, hopefully will not get into an accident and everything will be fine. One of the things she also mentioned was distracted driving laws, and there are times where if you get into an accident, having a pet unrestrained in a lot of states is considered distracted driving, and then you and the pet can be blamed for the accident even if the accident wasn't your fault. Even if the dog didn't distract you and had nothing to do with it, your insurance company, the police can say the dog distracted you and that's why you got in this accident. And then insurance companies may or may not pay for the accident, even if it had nothing to do with the dog, because they're saying, no, it's your fault. Another thing was the fact that, and I didn't even think about this, was that if you are in an accident and EMS is trying to help you in the accident, if you have a dog that's not letting anybody go near you, they will do what they need to do to get the dog out of the way to help you. So it may be harming your dog, it may be opening the door, letting your dog out. If they open the door, the dog can just run out, and now your dog's lost. You're in an accident, you're hurt from that, and now your dog's lost because the door was open, or your dog won't allow them to help you.
They're even allowed to euthanize.
Yeah, they're even allowed to euthanize your dog because your life takes priority over your dog's life. So when she told us all of this, it kind of traumatized us that day, and we essentially went online, got her a harness, and we started using this, which this is Sleepy Pod, so it's like crash tested harness. They even have all the crash test dummies on the website and everything like that. And we started using that. And it's actually supposed to be have the seatbelt going through the back of the harness, and we put her in the dinette. But we found that she gets tangled so much, and then her legs hanging in it and twisted, and she's whimpering and crying. So we actually ended up getting this seatbelt that clicks into the seatbelt just so that she has a little more free reign. So she's still restrained. She's still got a little bit of free reign, and she isn't getting as tangled in the car seat and in the car seats and in the RV seats if we do that. So that's the compromise we've made with her, because it was getting to the point where it was kind of stressing us out having her completely restrained. She couldn't turn, she couldn't move. It was just a problem. So we restrained her in the car and in the RV.
It only took about a week for her to get adjusted to the seatbelt. I thought it was going to be a little bit more difficult, but once she wore it a couple times, we relayed it with the word seatbelt. Belle, go to your seatbelt. She knows it's time to get harnessed up and attached.
And that we're getting moving.
And that we're getting ready to move. Yeah.
One of the other things we have that we use to help keep her safe is a temp stick. So this is a temperature gauge for the RV. Luckily in the winter we don't really need it too much, but in the summer it's pretty much on all the time. It can send readings every 15, 30, or 60 minutes. We just go on the app on our phone. It can send us alerts if the temperature is getting too hot. So we have alerts set up for 78 or 80 degrees so that we know if it alerts us that we need to get back to the RV. So we're never usually, and we'll talk about this a little bit more too, we're never usually too far from the RV because of this, because anything can happen when you're away. Power can go out at the campground. You don't know it's out. Your air conditioning stop working. And we've had this happen a few times to us, and we can talk. Kenny can tell you, elaborate more on that. But we've had that happen a few times, and the temp stick has alerted us that something is wrong as far as the temperature. It's not right in there, and we come back and we find what we find. So we have that helps. Mm-hmm. We also used to have a camera. We used to have a camera that we set up in here to watch her. And then we were traumatized when we were at the grocery store and looked at the camera and heard her howling in pain from being left behind and crying and whining. And then we decided the camera, and that camera we bought was pretty cumbersome. Yeah. So we decided it wasn't for us. So she has no camera watching her. So that's another thing. I don't know if you want to talk about maybe how we take her to the vet and stuff like that on the road.
Oh, you're doing well. I was just
okay. Well, you sit back then. Sit back and relax. So this is my time to shine. So when we are on the road, we actually have a main vet that she was going to before we started traveling, and we tend to go back there yearly. Not particularly that we have to, but it's just so easy because we're usually in that area. All her records in there. They're super friendly. As much as you can love a vet. As much as the dog can love a vet.
She does not love the vet.
She likes the people there. So we tend to take her back there for her yearly vaccines. We keep her records in the RV and also in the car. So that's with us at all times if we need it for any sort of border crossings or new daycares doggy daycares that she may go to or boarding or anything like that. So we always keep her records with us. So they are ready. Even some of the campgrounds have asked for her proof of her rabies vaccines. So we have those always readily available. We started actually taking her to Banfield because Banfield is nationwide so that we can actually have her records at one location. In case we're not in the area we usually go to, we can take her to any Banfield and they have all her records in the computer. So we registered her for that probably about 1.5 or 2 years ago. Because she's visited several vets across the country because something's always going on with her. I don't know. Something's always going on with her. So she's
been good the last couple of years, but when we first got her, the first 2 years, she was one little sickly pup.
Yeah, it was always something.
She was always catching some type of cold.
Yeah, so we had to do that. So I guess those are the things that we do right now to monitor her.
Also, the emergency vet, though, you always check.
Oh, yes. I forgot about that. Yeah. You can go ahead. Go ahead.
Go.
Okay, so the emergency vet. So we always tend to look for, when we go to a new area, if we're going to be here for a while, we always tend to Google and find out where the closest emergency vet is. And this came about after an experience we had when we were in an area and we were actually about 25 minutes from a vet in both directions. We didn't know where the vet was, and she, of course, had what seemed to be an anaphylactic reaction to swallowing a wasp. So, and at that time, I actually didn't even have the car. So I was back at the RV, here at the RV, and we were outside and she was playing with wasps outside. And I was like, Belle, stop it. Belle, stop it. I was like, listen, this is going to be Darwinism at work. Like, you are going to get taken out by the wasp. Yeah, well, I didn't actually expect it to happen. And then she came into the RV. She stooled herself, vomited, and then collapsed. And I was like, what the? And Kenny wasn't even here. Kenny actually left to go to Walmart just to make a quick Walmart run 2 miles down the street. I brought her outside because she was still going to the bathroom, and then she just collapsed in the grass and was like breathing funny and all of this stuff. And I was like, oh my gosh, she's gonna die. And so I called him, he came back, and in all that panic, I was looking up for an emergency vet, and I found out they were like 25 minutes away. And that would have been something to know before
it would have been good to know.
Before the actual, it did it again. You're gonna have to just hold it, I think.
Oh, okay.
I mean, not hold it over there, but I don't know what's going on with the gimbal. Maybe it's not charged. But it would have been something that would have been great to know before the emergency happened, because in that moment of panic, all of a sudden, it's funny because I take care of humans when things are going on, and I kind of have my steps and I know what's going on, and then it happened to her, and I was like, I can't help her. I don't know what to do to help her. So that would be actually nice to know when you're in an area where the emergency vet is. So I would recommend that. He's trying to fix the mic. Maybe it's pulling the camera down, so he's working on it.
Yeah, the gimbal's very warm, so I think it's under stress. Good.
It's under stress. Okay, well, I'll try not to take too long so that I don't end up off screen again. So having a pet when we travel, we love having her. She's a lot of fun.
She's great.
She's a lot of fun, and I actually miss her when she's not here. If she's boarding and we can't keep her that day, or she's at daycare, I actually miss her when she's not here. But she does change the way we do things. It makes us a little less carefree. So it's more difficult to explore areas when we have her because we always have to stay within a certain radius so we can get back if the RV gets too hot. We know we have a certain number of hours before she's going to need to use the bathroom. We tend to not leave her for a long time because I kind of feel like I wouldn't want to wait 6 to 8 hours to use the bathroom. In fact, I don't. When I'm out, I go to the bathroom. And so I feel kind of bad for her. And we actually both do feel bad for her when she's left behind. And we've gone to the bathroom 3 times and we know she's here and just kind of holding it like, are they coming back? Are they not coming back? So we tend to not leave her too long. So it limits some of the exploring we can do when we go places.
We give her a 5-hour limit. We always try to get back to her within a 5-hour time period, which doesn't give you a whole lot of time to explore a lot of times, especially because the campgrounds are usually in a far out area, which is great because they're nice and quiet. But then when you're trying to explore an area, it makes it a little more difficult because we're on a time restraint.
Yeah, so it definitely limits that. What else does it do? So we thought before we started RVing, we took her to the training because we thought it was going to be very difficult to learn how to RV and then also how to train a dog when we had no idea about training a dog or what to expect. So we did the training before we actually got in the RV because we were a little worried about tackling 2 things at the same time, 2 big things at the same time. She's being good. So very treat motivated.
Somebody said it looks like she knows what we're talking about.
She's very treat motivated, so she knows that I have the stash, and so she's being very good because she knows I have the stash. So yeah, so that's something that it can.
I think that's a good tip. If you're new to RVing and you want to get a pet, do one first and then the other. Either do the RV, learn about the RVing, get into the RV, start learning all the systems, how everything works, and then introduce a pet into the lifestyle afterwards, or get the pet first where you can do all the training, get everything down with the pet, get its personality, understand how it is. You can even do little test runs in a car that way too and see how they travel. We were very lucky that Belle is not bothered by the drives at all. She looks forward to them, and she's pretty happy though when we get to places to explore. But not all dogs or cats travel well, so I think it's good to find out how they are in a vehicle first.
Yeah, that's a good tip.
Yeah, I think so. What type of dog is Belle?
So when we got her from the shelter, they told us she was a Mount Feist mix. And so we had to Google this because we were like, what the heck is a Mount Feist? And we Googled it, and it was like an American bred squirrel hunting, possum hunting dog. She looked a lot like the pictures, maybe a little thinner, but she looked a lot like the pictures. And then people kept coming up to us and saying, that looks like an overgrown Chihuahua. So we went with that for the first little bit, and then we decided to get that Wisdom, I think it's a Wisdom pet swab thing from Amazon. So we ended up swabbing her, and somebody actually made fun of me at work. They're like, oh, I guess this is what people who have nothing better to spend money on and don't have kids do. So we ended up swabbing her, and she came back with a lot of Chihuahua. So they were right, overgrown Chihuahua. I think she was like 25 or 30% Chihuahua, had some Vizsla in there. There was also some Terrier in there. And something that was kind of shocking was Basset Hound, because she does not have the personality of a Basset Hound at all. But yeah, so that's what she came back as. So lots of Chihuahua and a few other things sprinkled out. I've tried to picture this Vizsla Chihuahua combo. Not sure how that worked, but here we have it. So that's what we're working with.
Ooh, Joy Route has a question, but I'm not sure if we have an answer. She had a bad experience with a dog when she was younger. She's going to RTR where she knows there's going to be a lot of dogs. What can she do to help relax around the dogs? I know for Belle, she appreciates when people come down to her level. She doesn't like tall. She doesn't like cats. Other than that, I think
feel
just
like the owners would just be more like. So we know Belle is all up in everybody's grill. Like as soon as we bring her up to someone, she's got her hands off. She's trying to jump on them. It's insane, and we have to like pull her back and be like, no, sit. She gets so excited, or she's growling and barking at them. So I feel like we kind of go out of our way. We may seem antisocial a lot, but we see people coming and we know like they're going to be a trigger, or she's going to be just, it's not going to work, and we'll like cross the street or we'll kind of move her out of the way. So if we know somebody, we try to understand the fact that just because we like our dog doesn't mean everybody else likes our dog, and just because we like our dog doesn't mean we like everybody else's dog. So I think it's more on the owners of just kind of being respectful of the fact that not everybody wants to be near your dog, pet by your dog, jumped on by your dog. Heck, half the time I don't want to be jumped on by my own dog. So I think it's more that. And then I think it's also, if you did want to meet them or you did want to go near them, then just like Kenny said, coming down to their level
and asking permission.
and asking if it's okay.
Yeah, ask permission from the owners, because not all dogs are friendly.
Right. And there's some people that we know are going to be a trigger for Belle, and some people don't ask and they just reach down at her, and then it's like a big to do, and we're like, no, you need to back up. And then they're like, no, I'm the dog whisperer. All dogs love me. I've raised pit bulls. And I'm like, okay, that's fine, but she does not love you.
She doesn't like everybody.
So please back up. So I think it's both on the owners, and then also if you did want to meet the dog, just kind of coming to their level and just understanding that not every dog wants to meet everyone else.
Yeah, she hates if somebody stands over her. Not sure what it is about, but I guess anybody would. It's intimidating for her.
Right. And she doesn't like hats. She's kind of touchy about men, especially tall men.
Tall.
And so we don't really know what happened to her in the first 7 months.
She has a lot of triggers.
Canes, scooters. Pretty much anything that's moving that doesn't look right across the field.
She doesn't like to see children running.
She's like, something is happening, they're running. So I think that would be as close to an answer as I could give you.
What is Belle lying on? She is laying on a Vibrant Life bed from...
We got it.
Walmart?
No.
This one I think is from Walmart.
Oh, this one's from Walmart. The last one we got at a thrift store.
Yeah.
But this one is actually from Walmart. She's so greedy. She's just chilling.
So I think that was all the questions. We do have a couple people that keep on trying to make it to the live videos, and they actually made it, and they're excited to see us live.
See you guys. I made it too. It was a little touch and go there.
But I think that's everything about traveling with pets. I think a lot of these can be good for dogs or cats or whatever type of pet. We know people traveling with snakes and parrots and all kinds of animals. So it's a very pet-friendly lifestyle because all the campgrounds are pet-friendly. And I think we see more people with pets than without pets. It's really popular. So you can do it if you're interested in traveling with a pet. It is absolutely possible. We love seeing Belle's expressions and excitement in her when we arrive to new areas, and we kind of live through those experiences with her. It's a lot of fun to have her along for the ride. How do we feed?
See, there's something going on inside.
Yeah. How do we feed Belle? Belle, we use something called Honest Kitchen. It's dehydrated food. It's really good for the RV because it's lightweight. So a 10-pound box of her Honest Kitchen, it makes 40 pounds of food. It's all, like I said, dehydrated. So she gets a scoop in the morning and a scoop at night. We don't leave her food out because she would be
1,000 pounds.
She can, yeah.
As you can tell.
Yeah, so we do regulate how much she eats, when she eats. The food is very easy to make. You just pour it into the bowl. It's dehydrated. You add some water to it. You mix it and let it sit for 3 minutes, and it's ready for her.
And it's real food. It's real food.
It's really good.
It smells like chicken soup.
Yeah, it smells good enough for us to eat.
We don't.
But she's been on it for 6
since
months.
July, since July.
Yeah, and she really likes it. It's been the only food that she actually gets excited to eat every time and finishes the bowl clean every single time. So we figure that's a good sign too. She also had a lot of stomach issues in the past. Since being on the Honest Kitchen, she no longer has the stomach issues. She stopped throwing up.
Yeah, she was throwing up a few times a week. We were just getting whatever store-bought food was available pretty much, and in like those little 4.5-pound bags because they were small. And then when we switched to this, we actually did the calculation, and it wasn't any more expensive than getting those small bags because we couldn't buy the big bags at the grocery store. So it really wasn't any more expensive than that. And she went from like throwing up like 3 times a week to throwing up like 3 times in the past 6 months. So it's definitely been a huge difference as far as her stomach issues.
Gunslinger, there is no extra charge at the campgrounds for the pets, which is a big plus compared to a hotel. Usually sometimes they have like a $25 a night charge.
$125.
Not per night.
No, for the whole stay.
Sometimes they'll do it per stay. Sometimes they'll do it per night. But every campground that we've been to has not charge anything extra on the dog, even if it's a German Shepherd, no matter the size. A lot of campgrounds do have restrictions on the types of breeds, unfortunately. Pit Bulls and
Rottweilers,
Dobermans. A lot of times these dogs get bad names, and unfortunately
not bad dogs.
Right, they're not bad dogs, but
bad owners.
and they're not allowed at the campgrounds. There is a campground in Tennessee called Four Paws Kingdom. We have a video on our channel, and that allows all dog breeds. It's actually a campground designated and designed with pets in mind. It has 7 dog parks inside the campground, and everything, their scheduling and everything is based around the dogs, and they say it's 4 dogs, and the dogs can bring their owners. And Belle has never had more fun, I think, in the time that we've been RVing, since the 4 days that we spent at Four Paws Kingdom. They are closed throughout the winter, but they'll be open up in springtime.
And they don't have a breed restriction, but
no breed restriction.
Everybody has to be over 18 to go there. There's no
kids
allowed.
That's true. That's a good point. So no children. So we actually had them on the podcast, and we were talking to them when coming up with the campground. For insurance reasons, insurance made them make a kind of a choice. They said, if you don't have all breeds, you can't have children. And they said, fine, we don't. we're all about the pets. So no kids, nobody under 18 is allowed at that particular campground. And Joy Route said Honest Kitchen should sponsor us. We agree.
We'll take all the sponsors we can get.
Yeah. So, and Tracy says hit a like. Definitely hit a like.
Thanks, Tracy.
Yep.
Anything else? Any other questions?
This is not about pets, it's about YNAB. Do we still use it? Yeah.
Yes,
we love it.
We have been using YNAB since 2015. Actually, yeah, 15. And we still love it, still use it. They've made a ton of updates, and yeah, it's great.
We have nothing bad about it.
Nothing bad. It has helped us pay off a ton of debt, and it's been great. So.
And that food again was Honest Kitchen. We buy it online. I believe you can get it in certain stores, but it's not.
Pet Supplies Plus has it.
Pet Supplies Plus. It's not everywhere. But we just buy it online. If you order it on a Monday, I think we usually have it by Thursday. So it's pretty fast shipping. And because it's dehydrated and the way it works out, it actually works out poundage-wise cheaper than any of the dog foods that we've had her on before. So
yeah, so it worked out pretty well.
It works out really well. And I think that's it. All right, everybody. Take care.
Bye, guys. Thanks for joining us. Thanks for the questions.
And tomorrow we'll be back with another video. It's going to be featuring Belle again.
Is it?
Yeah, we're going to do the treats. So Belle likes to choose her own treats. So we're just going to come on live. And I thought it would just be fun, if we can manage it with the camera, of setting up a couple treats on the ground. And you guys can...
I don't think we're going to manage it with the camera.
And you guys can take bets on what treat Belle will choose. All right, everybody. Take care. Safe travels. And we'll see you tomorrow.
Bye, guys.